Adam. Good afternoon. You have a 4-game road trip, you win 2 out of your 3, and you also like the game where maybe you didn't get the reward. One more game here. Is it sort of, you look at it in a good road trip, maybe make it a really good or a great road trip with the result tomorrow?
Yeah, I think we look at kind of how we've played and the style we've played. I don't know if we necessarily loved our first game at Edmonton, but we were able to find a win. And I think the last 2 games are a lot closer to the style that we want to play. And, it's important that you keep piling up points. And, we know how difficult it is to win back-to-back games in these series. And yeah, I think 3-1 would be a terrific result. And that's, what we're aiming for tomorrow.
I'll go next to Scott Billick from the Winnipeg Sun. Go ahead, Scott.
Hey, Adam. In talking about style, how difficult is it to remain consistent in your game when you're playing a team, kind of over and over again, where they adjust and you have to adjust to those different things? It's sort of like playoffs maybe, but like just having to kind of make minor adjustments to the way you play every game. Does that impact consistency, I suppose?
Well, I think when you look at it within the series, the minor adjustments aren't that significant. You got to adapt a little. Maybe there's going to be more time and space in the middle of the ice. Maybe, they're going to activate their D a little bit, or they're going to change some things on their forecheck. I think you look at the style from series to series. You look at kind of how Edmonton generates their chances. A lot of it's off the rush. You look at how the Flames, they're very active from the back end. They have a lot of tight puck support and things like that. So every team kind of is different, I think, and you have to be ready to play different styles of game while you're trying to still kind of maintain that consistency and that structure in your game. So I think when you go from series to series, it's a little harder to maintain that consistency and that structure, as opposed to the minor tweaks and, within the series. I think, certainly on special teams, the teams are going to adapt, and that's something you have to be ready for. But, I think, we're starting to get used to it. It's kind of similar to the playoffs, where you had success one night, and now it's, being ready for what the team's going to change to try and kind of combat that success.
I'll go next to Kelly Moore from CJOB. Go ahead, Kelly.
Hey, Adam, I know you guys aren't really big on stats and trends and that sort of thing, but the one thing that really stands out with Vancouver now, 0-11 when they give up the first goal of the game. I know it hasn't been as big a deal for you guys scoring first or allowing the first, but is that a stat that does catch attention and maybe factor into a little bit, because you have been able to get off the real good starts the last couple of games on this road trip?
I honestly didn't know that, but yeah, I think it's not so much a factor. I think in our room, maybe it's a bit of a mental hurdle for them that, they feel they get down and they've had a tough time coming back. But, I think it's one of those things that over the course of the season, I don't think that's going to necessarily be a trend. Eventually teams are going to be able to kind of dig themselves out of the hole. But, anytime you can kind of get that first goal, it definitely puts you in a position to succeed. It's a lot easier to play with the lead. You don't have to take some unnecessary risks. You're not constantly pressing. I think, you get off to a good start, you kind of build that confidence. You're able to roll your lines a little easier. And, it just kind of allows the game flow, especially from your team's perspective, to kind of roll a lot more easily.
We'll go next to Ken Weave from Sportsnet. Go ahead, Weaver.
Afternoon, Adam. What are some of the challenges in opposing your style of play on your opponent when you're playing them with a little bit greater frequency?
Yeah, well, I think, they start to find ways to kind of break it down. You play a team enough, you're going to find weak spots. There's certain things that you can kind of do against different forechecks, against different neutral zones, and that can alleviate some pressure, or kind of be able to catch a couple guys. So it's important that you're checking in the right lanes. You have your sticks in the right spots to kind of make sure that if they're gonna be moving the puck, it's not easily, it's not efficiently. Make them have to kind of work to get up the ice. That if they do kind of beat the one guy, they're not beating 2 guys, they're not trapping 2 guys low, and getting those odd man rushes, 3-on-2s, 4-on-3s kind of thing. So you know, I think some of that is you kind of have to be consistent in your structure and, you know, trust the guys that they're going to be able to kind of slow down the D-man on the forecheck and things like that. And then it's just, you know, trusting your team's ability and, you know, staying in that style. And, you know, I think you can kind of start to build some momentum. You start to kind of, you know, shift after shift, kind of wear them down with that style. And, you know, then you're able to start kind of imposing it a little more.
We'll go next to Jamie Thomas from Jets Radio. Go ahead, Jamie.
Hey, Adam, what's it been like being able to trust the fourth line whenever it goes out there? There was two really good shifts in the third period yesterday when you guys were holding on to the lead.
Yeah, it's awesome. I think, you know, anytime you can roll all four lines, it helps. It takes some minutes off the big guys. And, you know, Louis and Hark have, you know, really played key roles. And, you know, having Tomer back there, you know, he kind of really just brings that veteran presence, kind of, you know, settles things down. You know, he's real steady out there. And, you know, I think they've done a really good job contributing. You know, it's not necessarily every night on the score sheet, you know, but Louis has been, you know, a huge addition to our PK. And you look at the other guys, even with Vess out there, they've had a lot of good zone shifts, you know, a lot of good chances where they've created some things. And, you know, you look at it 2 or 3 shifts later, you know, one of those lines ends up breaking through, and it all starts with some real good shifts from them. So, you know, it certainly helps. I think, like you said last night in the third period, you know, Van had us hemmed in our zone, you know, for a couple minutes at a time, and we throw them out there, and, you know, they kind of tilt the ice back in our favor. So, you know, it's certainly important that we have that depth moving forward.
Just a couple more for Adam. We'll go back to Scott Billick. Go ahead, Scott.
Yeah, Adam, just wondering if has there been an emotional toll this season for players? Have you noticed it kind of 17 games in with just COVID, the testing, all that kind of stuff, everything that's different, I mean, staying in your hotel room, whatever it is. Have you noticed that at all, or have you guys kind of gotten used to it?
You know, I think early on, you know, with the changes and things like that, you know, we're such creatures of habit, and, you know, we love our routines, and you're kind of thrust out of your routine early. You kind of have to make all these adjustments. And now that I think we've got the processes down, we're kind of used to it. It seems like this is the way it's been for a while now. And yeah, it is certainly different. You know, you're not going out on the road. You're not going out for dinners. You're not allowed to, you know, see friends, family kind of thing on the road and things like that. So there are some changes. You know, it's a little more time in the hotel room, but, you know, I think with that, we've been able to adapt. You know, guys are spending a little more time on, you know, watching shows, reading books, playing their Nintendo Switches, whatnot. And yeah, now, you know what, I think we're all pretty used to it. I think maybe early on there was a bit of an emotional toll. You know, you just kind of almost that anxiety of, you know, trying to get used to everything and kind of the unknown. But now it seems like, you know, with all the processes we have in place, we're all used to it, and it's just kind of like our normal routine.
And final question to Kelly Moore from CJOB. Go ahead, Kelly.
Probably another stat you're not aware of, Adam. So, but you guys have won 6 straight in Vancouver, and you've beaten the Canucks 11 out of the last 12 times. When you have success against a hockey club like that, does part of that, you know, I'm guessing that you would view it a little bit differently as opposed to if you'd lost 6 straight in Vancouver, hadn't won there since whenever, and you'd lost 11 of 12 to them.
Yeah, you know what, I think, you know, I didn't know the exact record, but I knew we'd had some success against them and in Van as well. And, you know, I think it's one of those things that, you know, they've had a real competitive team over the last several years. And for whatever reason, they feel like they've been real tight games. And, you know, we've been able to kind of come out ahead. Brossois, you know, a couple shutouts, and, you know, we've had great goaltending, and that certainly plays a major factor when it comes to, you know, these series and kind of the ebbs and flows of the team's records between each other. So, you know what, I think it's just, for us, we look at it as another game, and, you know, hopefully we can kind of continue this streak. And, you know, it's important when we play them so many times that, you know, if you can kind of get the edge, maybe it's a little mental advantage for us, you know, that's huge.